I'll tell you this, I grew up watching Nardwuar, the Human Serviette, walk up to the biggest stars in the world and rewrite the rules of what an interviewer is supposed to do. He has interviewed the biggest names. He is still interviewing the bigger names. You know, Sabrina Carpenter, Tyler, the Creator. The interview that he did with Timothée Chalamet is like one of my favorite things that I've ever seen. But also, he's got a bunch of live shows right now. He's teamed up with Nike for a new sneaker. What is happening? How does Nardwuar, a guy from Vancouver, get to this place? I'm Elamin Abdelmahmoud. This is Commotion. Lisa Christansen is here. Mastermind is here. Hello, both of you.
Hey. Hello, and what was that? He's from Vancouver. Like, that was a surprise. What happened there?
No, okay, first of all, not meant to be a diss. Wow, Lisa's like, hold on. You're talking about my guy from Vancouver. Yes, of course he did it. He's from Vancouver. Yeah, it was not meant to, it was just meant to be a, how does a simple man from Vancouver become a giant in his field? That was a framing question, Lisa. I
got it now.
I hope you as the mayor of Vancouver do not take any offense to this. That's my hope. Okay, I want to also just remind people real quick who are like, hey, can you remind me for a moment who Nardwuar is and what he does? I think most people know him as the period of time that he spent as a MuchMusic VJ. And, you know, he's got an unusual, shall we say, interviewing style. He's got a pretty wild energy. He keeps giving people gifts as he's interviewing them. And also he just pulls out these wild facts. And one of the hallmarks of a Nardwuar interview is always the subject going, how do you know that? And then also, he always ends the interview like this.
Keep on rocking in the free world and do-do-do-do-do. Do-do.
That's I appreciate you doing that along with Pharrell. That's what I really appreciate there, Lisa. Okay, for decades, Nardwuar has been this eccentric fellow, at the center of sort of cultural interviewing that we do in this country. Lisa, I'm going to start with you because you're in Vancouver, as we've established, where he's been a fixture for decades. What is it about him that made you a fan?
You know, it seems like a kind of trite word right now. And, you know, maybe I didn't even think about it back then, but that authenticity, that complete and fresh, this is who I am. No one else is like that. Nothing has really changed either. It's not like he went, oh, we did some, market research with a focus group and found out they didn't like my TAM. You know, it didn't, nothing like that.
He's still rocking the TAM. Yeah.
Exactly. He stayed who he is. And I think it's just always felt real and fresh and curious. And I think that's something that can be lacking in journalists if they get a bit jaded. And one thing that man has never become is jaded.
It's honestly like it's the most refreshing thing watching him because like he's got a tone and timbre to his voice. I was just so excited to be talking to the person, and there's something really special about it. But also, Lisa, we should mention you and Nardwuar go way back. Do you want to give that context real quick?
Yeah, we had his show at CITR at UBC was on same night mine, Out for Kicks was on for a time. So I would see him every week, and it wasn't really Nardwuar. It was, you know, this great guy who was really good at what he did and lots of fun and amazing. And I feel very lucky to have watched his career grown. And you know how that moment you sometimes are like, should I be jealous? And you're like, absolutely not. This man deserves every single thing that's happened.
Lisa, you're allowed to be jealous. If you want to admit that you're jealous on national radio, we will allow it. Mastermind, look, man, you've had this career of watching broadcasting from all different types of angles. So you've seen the way that Nardwuar's career has grown. What has fascinated you the most about him as you kind of watch him over the years?
Honestly, it's like the originality. He's not in a box in any kind of shape, way, or form.
Yeah.
And he doesn't, he's not scared. Like I come from a hip hop background where the last thing you're trying to be is corny. And Nardwuar doesn't care if he comes across corny, if he is, aloof, if you will, or if he's not, on the straight and narrow. Like when you think about journalism, he is not what you think about. But when you think about fun, and, the people who understand what he's doing love him, like Pharrell, Tyler, like, most people.
They ask for him by name. They say, I want to be interviewed by Nardwuar. Yeah.
And Pharrell has actually told other stars that he's connected with, make sure you go do a Nardwuar interview or make sure Nardwuar talks to you, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of what it is. Like, in a world where there's a lot of hard-edged journalism, if you will. Like Nardwuar actually adds a sense of fun back into, interviews, if you will.
Lisa, if we can just spend a moment describing Nardwuar's interviewing style, because it's not like anything else, everybody sees. Like there's so much charm. There's also so much bombast and energy as he's sort of like asking these questions. What do you think it is about the ways that he shows up to interviews that actually makes him connect better with artists?
Well, I can only imagine going into a Nardwuar interview as equal parts, wow, I've been chosen, and also, oh my gosh, what is this guy going to dig up on me?
Yeah.
But I do think it's that the sense that, for this brief time with this person, I'm going to be treated as this celebrity, as a person that's worthy of looking at my past, finding out cool gems, giving me presents. And I think that's got to feel really good as an artist, that somebody's taking the time with you. And when they ask, how did you know this? He's like, well, we have to know this about you. You're Pharrell, like that sense of you're a serious artist. I'm going to get right into who you are. Yeah, I think everybody enjoys that feeling, and it comes across. You feel it as a viewer as well.
Also, the thing that you just did there, we should say, is Nardwuar's standard response to when someone says, "How do you know that?" And they go like, seriously, how do you know that? He's like, well, we have to know. You are this artist. And it doesn't matter the size of artist. And there's something really lovely about the uniformity of attention that he pays to these artists. And,
exactly that.
And so what I want to play you guys is this clip of him. He's interviewing the rapper Black Youngsta. And what I want to play you is the reaction that Black Youngsta has to Nardwuar, because he's sort of digging up some information that very few people know. And then Black Youngsta is really caught off guard. Have a listen to this.
This a trick?
No, there's no trick.
You sure?
Yes.
I'm just saying, I ain't finna go out there and go to jail or nothing.
What about the quick mark?
There's something about like these moments where he's like, this has got to be a trick. Am I gonna go to jail? Are you an officer of the law? And Nardwuar's like, no, we have to know because you're Black Youngsta. Like there's something really lovely about that. I want to talk about his global appeal for a moment, Mastermind. Like there's like the fact that this is someone who is sort of like so resonant with so many different people. It starts like the roots of that global appeal. They don't start on MuchMusic. They start in the place that Lisa mentioned, right? Like CITR. He started in community radio. Talk to me about what community radio gives you that sort of makes you connect with people in maybe a different way.
Well, there's a sense of realism, I guess, and also it's kind of like the anti journalism structure, if you will. You know what I mean? Like my whole thing was I started in college radio, but everything that I tried to do was to sound and emulate commercial radio. I wanted it to be polished. I wanted it to be crisp, and I wanted it to really rise above everything. Yeah. Whereas Nardwuar takes that. I mean, depending on how old a listener is, Saturday Night Live used to do a ongoing skit about these two females that hosted college radio, and they sounded super goofy and just
Lisa's giggling as you even mentioned this, just say.
Yeah, but I'm saying they used to just sound so non-professional and but there was an appeal about that. Like that's why that skit resonated so well. And Nardwuar is from that. He's never changed. Like if you watched him again, being in Toronto, we never would have, for the most part, been able to hear his radio show. But when he did make it onto MuchMusic or the New Music or wherever he was, when he got on TV, he's never changed. Yeah. So, whether it was the 90s to now, and then, obviously in the mid 2010s where his social media and YouTube stuff has taken off. And that's, I think, what the appeal is. So again, you have the majority of artists are enamored with this guy. Yeah. They love him. There's a lovableness about him. And obviously there are some artists who are too cool for school that'll probably, just be put by some of the doo-doo-doo-loots and some of the other questions and whatnot. Yeah. But if you get interviewed in 2025, if you are interviewed by Nardwuar, it means you're a special person.
That's a stamp of approval. It's a stamp of approval for sure.
To me, it is. Yeah. And, again, whether he's an individual or he's got a team behind him doing all this research and finding these gems to give to these artists in the interviews, it's something that's amazing, like to watch. Yeah. But it's also interesting that other, types of interview shows have started to emulate the deep dive into their guests.
Dude, when I watch Hot Ones on
Yes.
YouTube, I'm like,
Yeah.
Sean Evans,
Yeah.
my guy. That's just what Nardwuar does. Like in terms of surprising people with the level of detail, you know, and like people are
Yes.
eating chicken wings and they're very spicy, and then you get.
And I
surprised
think
with the
Sean
question.
is a
I go,
great interviewer, but
100%.
if you watched it from the beginning, like from season 1
Yeah.
to where they are now, the deep dive wasn't necessarily there.
No, I agree. I totally
Yeah.
agree. And I think like Nardwuar is kind of like a bit of the blueprint for surprising somebody with being like, and how would you possibly even know that? And I should say, Lisa, it's not like it's a thing that goes over well with everybody. Like sometimes you'll get guests and they won't react to the Nardwuar shtick very well, right? Like so you've had, for example, like Sonic, a member of Sonic Youth broke one of the gifts that he gave them. There was an interview where
It was so horrible. I remember that. Even then, I remember being so disappointed. The Blur interview comes to mind.
Yeah, Nas, walked out of the interview. This has happened a bunch of times. But Nardwuar keeps putting himself in these situations. So if we can put the focus back on Nardwuar himself, what do you think he gets out of putting himself in that position?
I think that he knows his audience respects what he's doing, and they're going to think less of the artist and never him. In that moment, it might feel really horrible, especially again, that Blur interview comes to mind. It was horrific. And, there was a big apology later, but it was so sad. And I know that anyone watching was going, that's a tell on you.
Mm-hmm.
You're the idiot, not Nardwuar at all.
I just say that like the reason we're talking right now is that he's not only constantly sort of going viral for the interviews that he's doing, he's built this iconic sort of persona, and also he's going on tour. Like there's something to the fact that currently in this moment, Nardwuar is going to play 5 dates. He's going to be in Toronto, he's going to be in London, UK, he's going to be in Vancouver, he's going to be in New York. There is something about the fact that he's able to do that I think will surprise a lot of people. Are you at all surprised by that, Lisa? That he's going on the road.
And when you see him with those groups of fans getting their photo taken, he does, again, back to the artist thing, you're never too big or too small. It's the same with the fans. Those people mean something to him, and he will let all of them know that they're special as well.
But tour is another thing, right? Like that still feels like it's a different level of celebrity to me to say, you know what, he's so connecting, with audiences and fans that he can sort of fill a bunch of different venues in a bunch of different cities. Are you surprised at all by that, Lisa?
No, not at all. No, especially in our era right now too, where we go out to see podcast hosts talk. We're
I don't
used
like
to
the way you
that
said
now.
podcast host. You said it pointedly, and I take issue with it. I just wanted to say that.
Well, I've taken issue here today. But you know what I mean? Like I think we're all very excited. I think the idea sort of like media celebrity and spending time with them. I mean, he had those dates in LA, I think earlier this year. They sold out, people love him, and young people. I mean, as we were discussing, like depending on what age you are, I mean, he keeps getting new ones. He's like a snowball, constantly picking up new people. It's amazing.
I was gonna say at Mastermind, in addition to the dates that he's doing, he's also just released a collaboration with Nike. Like the guy's got a sneaker now. I mean, that level of appeal to me is quite wild. What do you think his success tells us about this moment right now, Mastermind?
Well, when I remember hearing about that, I was kind of blown away because, again, you do have to be a certain level. Like when you think about Nike, you think about athletes, you think about rap stars. And now all of a sudden, a guy who, blew up on YouTube doing interviews, aside from the fact that he's got a very original fashion sense, which I think could be something that appeals to a fashion brand or a fashion designer like a Nike. And, they make some very cool sneakers, like when you think about the shoes that they've made for certain artists like De La Soul, they're very specific to that artist. And I'm so curious to see what a Nardwuar sneaker looks like. But it's also it's such a huge testament to what he's established for himself as a pop culture icon, if you will. Icon may not be the right word, but he's kind of up there, right? When other icons know you and co-sign you, you're kind of in that realm, you know what I mean? And touring and sneakers. And yeah, like, you know, next it'll be the movie.
I would.
Can I just say one
please,
thing too?
I
that
beg for a Nardwuar movie. Yes, Lisa.
It's just you know, I think last year that moment where Barbara Walters was interviewing Dolly Parton went viral.
Yeah.
Where Barbara Walters looked at her and said, you know, you don't have to look like that. You don't have to dress like that.
Yes,
you
I
don't
remember.
have to do your hair like
And
that.
what a comment that was. Yeah.
It was so awful. And, you know, jump forward to
Yeah.
Nardwuar interviewing Sabrina Carpenter and giving her, you know, a poster of Marilyn Monroe wearing a similar outfit saying, this is what's important to you. I'm going to celebrate it with you. And Sabrina Carpenter just explaining, oh, I love this era. I love the way she looked. And I just think what a fantastic leap we've made in how we treat women we interview.
I 100% agreed. And I think like there's something about Nardwuar and the attention he brings to what artists are paying attention to, right? Like he's sort of like, he pays attention to the thing that they pay attention to. And then together they sort of get a chance to explore that. That's the thing that I get out of this Nardwuar interviews. But also, I got to say, thank you, the two of you, for doing this conversation. And obviously, this is going to have to end with a doot doot a loot doot.
Doot doot.
Well done, you guys. This is the best. Have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you so much.
Of course. What a time. Thanks, y'all. Appreciate it. Lisa Christansen is a reporter with CBC Vancouver's morning show, The Early Edition. Mastermind is a program director at Toronto's Vibe 105 FM and the host of Mixtape North on Channel 164 on SiriusXM. Nardwuar's live Q&A show is happening in Toronto on November 23rd. And those Nike SB Dunks are about to come out. They're about to be released in December. My name is Elamin Abdelmahmoud. This show is called Commotion.